everybody, good morning. Mestre here, coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. I just got in here on a Sunday morning. It's a little bit cloudy, but it's nice, right? We're about to get into summer and it's going to start getting really hot. I was thinking a lot about what to talk about today, and I really think, it's an interesting thing. I was talking to Mestre Linguista about when we use the word ego. A lot of times, many people always come to me and say, hey, Master, I love capoeira, it's great, blah, blah, but there's sometimes too much ego. And I thought to myself, really we have to understand how the word works, ego, right? Let's look at it. I look at it at two ways, right? This is just my opinion. I look at it at two ways. There is positive ego, which we call self-respect, confidence, self-confidence. And then we have negative ego, which when we put other people down and we criticize without willing to be criticized back. So for me, one of my, cardinal rules that I live by as a Mestre of Capoeira is the concept of, I always tell people, I like to build up, not build down. First, I want to admit, for a long time, I was the other way. I built down. Why? Because I wasn't aware of how I was doing things or how I was interacting with other people. So when I say about building up, building down, I'm also guilty of building down. And I've lost a lot of students and a lot of relationships because sometimes I built down versus built up. So what is to build down? Build down is when you criticize people. For example, I have a good friend. He's a teacher of capoeira. And just watching his interaction, you see that he's got this old school, I don't want to say old school, but the build down side. He's a nice guy, except when he's teaching capoeira, he tends to build down. And you can say whatever for whatever reason, maybe he's got stress in life, it's not to the way he likes it. But you know what? Nobody does. We all have problems. Right now we have this pandemic and everyone's suffering. Most of you guys know I also own a Brazilian live house. And we have mariachis and everybody's suffering. What I do is I'm trying to build up. So one thing that helps me build up is I focus on what I have that's good in my life and value it. While I think my friend who does the other way, he likes to focus on what he doesn't have and complain. And then he transfers that onto other people. And we see this a lot in anything, not just capoeira. We see this in BJJ. We see this in hip hop. We see this in anything, at the workplace. So what I'd like to share with you guys is how I see the concept of building up, not building down. Building down, let's say you're wrong, you're not doing it right, no explanation, you don't get it. These are things that just, kind of throw the whole way of growing out the window. So to build up, I really look at how can we build up? We build up by when you interact with other people, especially as an instructor of capoeira, see where people are growing. Some people call it a sandwich, right? You give the good, the bad, then the good again, right? I tend to be a little bit more direct, but also because I'm coming from a mental and spiritual place where I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm an American Mestre of Capoeira. Nobody can take that away from me. I don't care if you get, say, yes, I've had it. Oh, you're not Brazilian. I've had that. I don't care. I've spent enough time in enough rodas, in enough events. I've done everything. I've created capoeira culture. Now, what do I mean by create capoeira culture? I have made CDs, original songs. I've invested time and money into understanding how things work. Corri atrás, I chased after. So I can go to other people when I teach and say, look, I want to build up. For example, if you're an instructor, you get this a lot, or maybe you do it to yourself. Oh, I can't, I don't get it. What's going on? People love to self-deny their own potential. Truth of the matter, I learned to do a mortal, a backflip, and a gato, a back handspring in 20 minutes. But I was 17 and wild. You know, I was young. I was like, my friends were looking. I just wanted to go crazy. Doesn't mean everybody does. Took me years to understand how music works, right? A lot of help and a lot of support from great, uncles and aunts and people who knew music to help me with it. So as I was growing up in capoeira, a lot of building down, and could call it ego. So what I try to focus on is building up. What's building up? Building up is when if somebody's not doing something good or correctly, not good, I don't want to use good, something correctly, then we also need to focus on what they're doing correctly. Not just focus on what you're doing wrong, but focus on what you're doing right. And how we present, it's all about how we speak and interact with people. For example, building down, you're doing it wrong. Building up, okay, if you do it this way, then you're kind of doing a variation of this, right? Because capoeira is a 360-degree movement, so there's always a move that's similar to what you're doing, even if you fall down. If you fall on your side in a martelo, you could say, oh, it's a negativa regional, there's so much things going on. So to build up, all you have to do is see how you're presenting from a positive ego base, how you're presenting and building people up by saying what they're doing wrong or explaining to them what they're doing. And not in a bad way, not that they're ignorant, stupid, they can't get it. And that's really not helpful for anybody. But for example, I like to say, okay, you're almost doing this movement. Or get closer to this, closer to this. I'm saying the exact same thing. I'm still saying that they're not doing it right, but I'm not saying it to hurt people. And this is what I think we really need to focus on in capoeira, especially because we have this history of just building down. Not everybody, it's just my opinion. So let's see if we can't focus on building up. Mestre Sukuri, Tokyo, Capoeira, Zoador. Ashe.